everybody, Ferrari is back to its best. They're back to being clowns. So last week was the Canadian Grand Prix, as you probably know if you weren't living under a rock. So during the race, we had rain. Um, we had one of the first women to do motorcycling and racing, and who's an actual true fan of the sport, which is quite cool. Um, they started putting up banners so people who paid to get in couldn't watch the event, which is worrying and scary. And God, I hate it because you are actively just robbing people of what they've bought. So after all that happened, we sat down to watch the race, and it was a wet start. The star in the ship returned as Haas flew up the field as they started on wet tyres before Magnussen pitted, and then he just despawned basically because the Haas team screwed up a pit stop. Hulkenberg stayed out and he dropped down the field after he pitted because it went from extreme wet conditions to intermediate conditions, and then right as the crossover period was about to happen, guess what happened? Logan Sargent saw a barrier that was too Canadian for his liking, so he decided to freedom it up a bit and fucked it into the barriers, bringing out a safety car and taking himself out of the race. Now, most teams under this pit stop pitted, um, completely screwed Norris over because he was due to pit anyway, and due to him passing the safety car line and the pit lane and everything before the other cars, everyone else could pit, but he had to sit behind the safety car. So in the end, he came out not in the lead anymore, and Max Verstappen back in the lead. So everyone was sort of staring at their TVs or phones or whatever, thinking, God, it's going to happen again, isn't it? But Ferrari decided to hold everyone's beers for them, and they did something truly hilarious. After being knocked out in Q2 for both cars yesterday, Charles Leclerc was already pissed off, and he spoke his words in the post qualifying press interviews where he got told by his press agent or whatever to, sort of rein in his emotions. And Charles said, I'm going to say what I want to say. So he was already pissed off. Then what do Ferrari do? He has, on the first lap, an engine problem which causes him to lose up to 20 miles an hour down the straight with DRS open. So he was already slower than the cars without DRS open when he had DRS open. That's not great. Then, when he pits, what do? They take about 30 seconds, and in that time, rather than going on to intermediate tyres when it started to spit with rain, what did they do? Hazard a guess. That's right, they went on to fucking hards. Not softs, because at least those could warm up a tiny bit or stay a bit warm, but hards, the tyres that, if it's slightly cold, just fail to work, they just go on strike. Much like the Ferrari strategy team, it appears like. And what this did is it meant that Charles Leclerc came out a minute later than everyone else, got lapped, and then retired. I've no other words to say than what are you doing, Ferrari? Because at least in Hungary 2022, they pitted onto hards and different cars received those tyres differently. Like McLaren is normally strong on the mediums. But it makes no logical sense. It's literally beginning to spit with rain, and you've gone onto a slick tyre. Just, just give me strength. Just give me strength. I don't know if you can remember, at the start of February, Lewis Hamilton signed a contract with Ferrari, so he's going to race for them next year, as you normally do when you sign a contract. But what does this actually mean? Well, it means that Hamilton's going to go to Ferrari next season, along with his rabid fan base. As we know, they are properly insane. They were attacking George Russell because he had the audacity. Guess what he did? He overtook Lewis on pure pace. It's not like there was any team orders. It was a neutral situation, and he overtook him because he was the faster car when Lewis had overtook him the lap before. If you are attacking someone for racing, what do you think is going to happen when Ferrari pits him onto slicks in rain conditions or onto dries, like onto intermediate, when it's dry? You are going to have a full-scale invasion of the Ferrari headquarters by Team LH. So, honestly, Ferrari, you need to sort yourself out, because if you're not careful, you are going to have some seriously like insane people storming your factory pretty damn soon. But all the rain and everything didn't actually matter in the end because guess who won? Max Verstappen as per. So really the only funny thing that we can take out of this is the fact that Ferrari are still clowns. But honestly, the most worrying thing for me is the fact that they're boarding up the bits for where fans could actually watch the race after they paid for the tickets. Like, remember with Las Vegas when they put up boards in Las Vegas to stop people watching? Everyone was pretty damn concerned about that. But this is actually going past that because people have actively gone out their way, bought tickets, paid, and went there, and suddenly they're not allowed to watch the race anymore. And on top of this, people were getting turned away from the race, even though there was cars going around saying that it had apparently been cancelled, which to me is also pretty worrying. And apparently the Canadian Grand Prix is under threat because of this, because suddenly everyone has grown a spine when literally they were doing the same thing in Las Vegas, which doesn't make any sense to me. But hey ho, this is what happens when money is on the line for F1. So that's all I've really got to say about Canada. Hopefully it's on the calendar for next year because otherwise you're going to have everyone in, well, America suddenly getting quite worried that their track has disappeared off the calendar. Thank you for watching and goodbye.